First question is like, what inspired you to become a filmmaker? Like when you thought about becoming a filmmaker.
Actually, it never occurred to me that, I would go and study film and stuff like that. But then I was always interested in watching a lot of films and then mostly animation films. So I never thought that, I mean, growing up in the Northeast, we never knew that, there's a thing called animation that we could study and we could learn, and we didn't have the exposure. So but then I was always into sketching and like watching a lot of films, so eventually I went to a college in Shillong, mass media. I studied mass media, and from there it just happened that I ended up in a film school, and they happen to have animation cinema, which is the course that I'm currently taking. So from there it just came along, and then I was like, yeah, I think this is something that I can pursue as a career. Yeah.
So where in Northeast like you live?
Actually, I'm from Arunachal and Nagaland. Like my dad is Arunachali, my mom is Naga, but most of my higher studies I did in Shillong. So currently, right now, I'm in Shillong. Yeah.
So like your parents knew like you want to pursue like in animation.
No, at first, because like I said, I didn't know that there's a course called animation, so I thought maybe I'll just go for fine arts. But then, like in the Northeast, they always push you to go for government jobs, and like, or go for like science uh, stream. So they said, okay, you want to go for fine arts, so why don't you try for architecture, which is closer to drawing. So yeah, they initially, even they didn't have any idea, but then once I was confident in what I wanted to do, I think they were also more supportive, and yeah, they've always been very supportive of what I wanted to do. Yeah.
So currently like you are studying in SRFTI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
I'm
how
in
did
my final year now.
okay. So like what was your experience in FTA, SRFTA, and how do you know about it?
SAFTA. I knew it from my seniors. They were already in the cinematography departments and editing departments from Shillong. My seniors from Shillong, they went to SRT. Then they suggested that, oh, since you're so good at drawing and you're interested in anime and animation films, so why don't you try for that? And then I went there. That was like long time back, actually. That was 2018 that I joined SRFTI, and it's a 3-year course, but then because of pandemic and a lot of deadline extensions with our work, it turned into a 6-year course, I think.
So like the Black Clay, the film you have made, like it was a part
Yeah.
of the course or like
Yeah, it was a part of my second year project. So it was based on rare or extinct crafts that we had to work on, and then if we had to make an animated documentary, so we had to combine live action and animation. So yeah.
so currently like you're studying animation. Like in future you want to become a filmmaker, like or animator.
Yeah, I do want to, but I know there's not much money in that. Like, I know I can't make it like a full, full job. So maybe I might have to go to the the corporate line and then see how it the animation industry is in the commercial side of it, and then maybe in the future I would love to make my own films and tell stories from the Northeast.
Okay, okay. So let's talk about your film, like Black Clay.
Yeah.
It was shown in Kerala, Dharamshala as well.
Yes, yes.
So
It was showed in Punjab also as well. Yeah.
okay, great. Like where in
Yeah.
Punjab?
In Chitkara Film
Okay,
Festival.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So why do you wanted to tell a particular community story? Like what was the reason?
Um, I mean, it was a part of my project. But then I think that kind of gave me a direction that okay, I want to tell stories from the Northeast. So it just so happened that okay, like these communities are there in Meghalaya who uh, do this craft, and then it's not as widely known, and then uh, also like yeah, I mean, it just happened. It's not like I decided that okay, I'll do this. It just happened that I made a lot of people, and then they told me, okay, you can do a story on this community, this craft, and then it just happened like that. I can't really. It's not like I planned. Yeah.
So like before shooting, like did you have any script or like the pre-production part? Like how did it work and how much
Yeah.
time it took?
So the pre-production took quite some time because we had to get in touch with a lot of people. The thing is, the cinematographer Ronald, he's a very good friend of mine. So it's his state. So he's from Meghalaya, and then he got in touch with one of the archaeologists, the researcher, who is in very she's in close contacts with the artisans, right? So she gave us a bit of a history of the craft, and then since there weren't any written documents about it, so she was just telling us, ki, okay, okay, this is there and whatnot. And then she made us get in touch with the artisans. Then we had to plan our travel, our budget, and equipments, and a lot of things. Um, so the budget I got from my institute. So we had to, yeah. So it was a long process. Uh, there was no script actually because we were in film school, like we're taught ki, okay, like for documentary you can't have a script because you have to go and shoot and then see how what comes about. But then the thing is with when you're working with artisans, their time is so precious, like they're like they have orders, they have their household chores, and they have to do a lot of things. And for them to give us that time, we can't just go and be like, okay, do this, do that, whatever. So we had to like the first day we went there, we just met them, got tried to like get acquainted with the whole family members and everything. Then we were like, okay, no, like we can't just go and shoot. We have to make a script, we have to make note because we don't have enough time and budget also, right? So we were like, okay, we have to like make a list of the shots that we need to get. Yeah, so some planning was there.
Like if you could tell like how much is the budget and how many days? Like the
um,
equipment is also provided by the school.
yeah, it was provided, but since my cinematographer had his own equipment, so but then obviously I charged, he charged for that. So the initial budget was around 50K. So yeah, yeah. Half of it was gone in the travel equipment and everything. Then most of it, then later it went on the sound. So I went to a proper sound studio, and then we did the mastering and everything fully. And plus I added animation, right? So for the animation sequence, we had to create the sound and music. And music, yeah. So music also was a very important part of the film. So yeah.
Okay, okay. So like it's a documentary and they were like non-actors. So how difficult it was to
Yeah.
like make them act in the film and be in front of the camera.
Yeah, yeah. So the thing is, these artisans, they're quite used to having people. So the thing is, they have like workshops where a lot of tourists come. It's a part of a government project where they bring tourists and they come shoot and everything. So they're quite used to like interacting with people. Even though we don't speak the same language, they were quite comfortable. And but then when it came to the interview, I think that was a bit challenging because they didn't know exactly, because they haven't really like like actually looked at the camera and just like introduced themselves and stuff like that, right? So I feel like yeah, especially the little girl Laini Berto, yeah, it was very difficult for her because she was very camera shy, she was very camera conscious. And then we had to like make her get used to us, be more friendly. Yeah, it took some time, but yeah, they were pretty good.
So how much was the like shooting part? Like how many days like you shoot and how big was the
Um,
crew?
uh, Crew was very small. It was just me and the cinematographer, and then one friend who just joined. But so three people, and then shooting day was like just 2 days. Like one day was just we went there and then we took some shots here and there, but then yeah, officially 2 days shoot.
And when the animation part started, like as you said, like when you
Yeah.
went there, there was no script. Then the animation
Yeah,
part.
yeah, yeah. So the thing is for the animation part, like to really make my sketch authentic to the craft and how to blend it um with the film. So I had to while I was there on shoot, like I did a lot of live sketching, a lot of gestures, a lot of small, small details, and then as I was sketching, like the style was kind of developing in my head. Like it took some time, but I understood that okay, it has to be black and white because it's a black clay, right? So but then like to digitally recreate it, I was having some difficulties, like figuring out the style and mood. So I did a lot of like with um, charcoal and a bit of like pastels and stuff like that, and just a bit of color here and there. Okay, so then it developed, that okay, I just need to emphasize on the color red because in the film also in the footages live footages you see they're wearing a lot of red and the daughter was wearing that red clip. So I was like, okay, I need to emphasize that, like, and it has a lot of meaning also, right? Like, and I wanted to show the relationship between the mother and the daughter as well because it's a craft that will be passed down from the women's side of the family, and she's the only daughter, like. So yeah, so and then digitally when I was trying to recreate the charcoal look, it took some time because it, like digitally doesn't have that feel, right? So then I had to just like rewire my brain, and then I started sketching from my left hand. So that gave a very like rustic look, very rough look to it. So yeah, so the whole animation process and everything, I think it took a month, like consistently drawing frame by frame. Yeah, it was a lot of work.
So like for the animation part, like were there any references for a particular film? Um,
Um, um, yeah, like I watch a lot of films. Okay, like I don't remember exactly which films, but a lot of old Russian animations, like short clips I went through because the way they animate is very rough. It's not clean, it doesn't have that Disney look. So yeah, I watched a lot of that, and on Pinterest, I went to Pinterest and I made a mood board, of how I want the um, look and feel, and then like the overall look and feel, and also how to my mentor, who's my Professor Argos, he mentioned one thing where he told me to play with a lot of negative space, like how if you see in the animation sequences there's a lot of like blank space. It's not filled with a lot of stuff, right? Yeah, so I feel like yeah, that was the look that I wanted to achieve.
so also the music, like you said somewhere,
Mm.
like you added the Western music, then you change. So
Yes.
what was the reason?
Yeah, yeah. So the Western music when we added, so the my sound designer, he both of us we were like, okay, let's just it doesn't have to sound so local, so let's just make like a Western music, right? So we added a lot of like piano and then guitar and drums and all, but then it really didn't blend with the film at all. So my mentor was like, I think you have to, work with local sounds. And then once we tried it, we added. There's this local instrument called duitara, which is like a 3/4 string. I don't know, like it's a wooden. instrument, and then my musician, he played it, and then it sounded really good, and then um, yeah, so it worked out.
So
Yeah.
it was shown in various festivals, Dharamshala, Punjab, and Kerala. Like, what was your reaction when you saw the film at a big screen, and what was the audience reaction as well?
Um, I mean, sadly, I wasn't able to join, go for the film festivals because since I'm in the Northeast, it's really far, like a lot of expenditure, and I'm still a student, so I wasn't able to go. But then I've been to like college festivals, like small, small college festivals where they help me with the travel expense or someone. So I've been to some of the film festivals, and it was such a um, I don't know how to explain it. It was very nerve wracking actually, because like when I made the film, I didn't have that expectation that anybody would watch it, right? I thought I was just making it for myself or for the artisans. Maybe it will go to some what their archive, or maybe something like that. But then to actually have people watch it, and then and like the film, it's really, yeah, it's really nice.
Okay. So currently, are you like doing any other work right now?
Yeah, so right now I'm working on my final project. It's actually, I wouldn't call it a game design, but then I'm working on how do I explain it? Actually, it is like a game design, but I'm not really designing the game. Okay, so it's mostly I'm designing the character, the world building, and then the storyline. So it's about the Northeast, like the folk tales of the Northeast, and how the game would play. The game would be like you exploring the different folk tales through the character. Yeah, so it's something like that. Yeah.
So you are a film student as well. So are there any recommendation of your favorite films and filmmakers? Like, it's a list you can give me 10, 15.
Yeah. For me, my go-to filmmaker would always be Hayao Miyazaki. Studio Ghibli, yeah, his films. I love all his films. In fact, his film Spirited Away is that one film that made me feel like, oh, I want to do this. I want to make animation films. So definitely Hayao Miyazaki, and then a bit more on the serious tone would be Satoshi Kon. With his Paprika and Perfect Blue, Tokyo Godfathers, and then so these are animation films. There's lots actually, which I can't really remember. Um, I like Tim Burton's films, live action and animation. Then Laika Studios. Then I from like just live action filmmakers. There's lots. Like there's Stanley Kubrick. There's Tarantino. Then Wes Anderson. There's a lot. I can't remember everything now, but yeah, just a few.
Any Indian, any Indian film.
Indian filmmakers, to be honest, I the thing is like animation, like Indian animation, I don't know much because Northeast again, we don't know much about like Indian. We don't take a lot of Indian content, right? Like Indian filmmakers and stuff like that. So I would say like the new upcoming ones would be like I really love. I don't know if you know Upamanyu Bhattacharya. He was also from NID. He is, yeah, he's an amazing animator, and he's made a lot of animation films like Wade, and now I think he's working on Heirloom, and even Studio Ixores. I think their work is also really great. There's lots, I guess, but I don't know.